Hi there. In this video, we're going to take a look at getting started with Quizizz, a fun multiplayer game. It's kind of like a game show for your students to compete against each other um, while doing checks for knowledge along the way. So you could think of it as exit tickets or a multiple choice worksheet, but interactive, engaging, and digital. So, what we're going to do is start by opening up a web browser and going to quizizz.com. That's quizizz.com. And your screen should look like this when you get there. Over in the top right corner, you'll notice there's Join a Game and there's also Login. So, those will come into play a little bit later. But first, we need to create an account. So, if we scroll down a little bit, you'll see right down here, Sign Up. It doesn't take a whole lot of information here. So you'll just put in what capacity you are, put in your email. And then it'll ask for your zip code. And then your school. And that's all it takes to get signed up. So this is what your dashboard is going to look like after you create an account. What we can do here is search for public quizzes, or we can have My Quizzes. This is a library of where everything you create will go. Here's the button to create one. You can also do that right here and create your own quiz. As well as My Reports. This is going to be where all the data is stored after you have ran a quiz in your class. So for example, let's just take a look to see if we can find a quiz on World War II. And here you can see a whole bunch that have been made by other people, different users, and they list how long ago they were made, how many questions are in this particular quiz, the target age, and who actually created it. And as you hover over, you'll notice that the questions show up on the right-hand side. So if we want to take a look at this one in particular, we click on that. We have the option to scroll down here, and we can see the different questions. So here's the questions, here's the answers, and here's how long they've been set for. You can do play live, or you can set it as homework. You can also duplicate it to add it to your own. So let's take a look at creating your own quiz, because we can actually pull questions in from other quizzes that are public into our own. So if we click on Create, it gives you a quick little run through in the background here, but let's go ahead and give your quiz a name. You can add a cover image. Oops, helps if I spell that right. So while we're pulling this up, I'll give a quick shout out to photosforclass.com. This is a great way to teach your students about getting proper images that have been attributed using Creative Commons. So they're free for schools to use, and they also actually tag themselves, so everything's done the right way. So let's just do a search for World War II, see what comes up. And let's just take this one for example. If I want to download this one, I click on the download button. And then here you go, you can see it downloaded. And here's what I mean where it shows the attribution. So now let's head on over back to our quiz. We can add a cover image. And here you can set it to public or private. So this will be whether or not other people can access your quiz. So since this is a tutorial, I'm not going to make a full-blown quiz that you'd want to use for your class. I'm going to set it to private. Here it's giving you the option to search for questions. We'll talk about that here in a second, but let's look at the dashboard here. Edit quiz info, that's what we were just doing, the quiz picture as well as the settings. And here is our first question. As you can see, it's blank. So right here is where we will type in the questions. So here you give your options. Okay, and we'll go ahead and mark the correct answer by giving it a little check here. And we can also add image as well. So if you click on add image, you can either upload from computer or upload from URL. So let's see what let's see if there's one that pops out at us here. Alright, let's just check this one out. Here we go, it downloaded, so I'm going to save that to my desktop. And we'll go ahead and drag that in. And now you can see it added the image to the background. So when the students are taking the quiz, they can actually hide the text and see what's back behind. So if you want to make a question that revolves around the picture, that's how you would do that. All right, let's take a look at adding in questions from other quizzes. So let's search for World War II. And here we go, we see that list again. So now if I just click on one, so let's just go to this one here. I'm not even really checking to make sure they're correct answers, but I would highly suggest that. You don't know if a teacher made these quizzes or a student, so be mindful of it and take a look to make sure they did do the correct answers. But you'll see as I hover over each question here, this red plus sign pops up. So what we'll do is, hey, I like this question. I'm just going to hit this plus sign, and you'll see how it's brought over to your quiz. And you can just pull questions from any quiz that you see in here. And here's one that they added an image into. I'll go ahead and add that. And here's another one. Okay, so here we have 6 questions. So we'll go ahead and close this. I think that's good for what we're doing here. And as you can see, we have some tools to edit text up here. And then we also have, well, this is nice for math questions. We have a whole bunch of superscript, subscript, a whole bunch of different symbols that you can use. So that comes in handy if you want to do this for a math class. You can also adjust the time. You can see it'll go anywhere from 5 seconds up to 15 minutes. Typically on the ones I do, I just set it for 10 seconds. Now when a student is taking your quiz, as soon as they answer a question, it will pop up, show them if they were correct or not, and then it'll move on to the next one. So it's not like some of those other programs out there that the teacher is able to send the questions out to the class all at the same time. So you might be a little worried about students looking over and seeing the other questions that they're on. Quizizz gives you the option to shuffle not only the answers but also the question order. So let's go ahead and hit finish here, and let's take a look at Okay, here's what we have. You need to select a grade level. So I'll just do grade 9 to 12. And this would be under history. And you can tag it as well. I'm not going to really... Let's go world history. I'm not going to worry about doing tags. Finish and create quiz. All right, now we can see kind of like what we saw earlier when we just looked at somebody else's. Here's that image I used at the beginning. Here's all the questions, and you can see the time limits. So here are our options as a teacher. We can do play live or we can do homework. Play live means we're doing it right now. Homework means you get the link and the code, give it to the students, and they just have to complete the quiz at home by a certain time that you tell them you'd like it done by. So this is what that would look like. You can set when they need to have it finished by. Here are the question settings. Jumble questions, that's going to be the order of questions. Jumble answers is the answers on the screen, what order they're going to show up in. Show answers after questions is going to tell them what the correct answer was. And quiz review is at the very end of the quiz. The student will be able to see all of the questions and what they got right, what they got wrong. Game settings, you can have it show a leaderboard so the students can see where they match up to the people in their classroom. Question timer gives them an idea of how much time they have left for scoring points. Show memes is going to be the funny little pictures in between, telling them whether or not they were correct or incorrect. And then music playing in the background. So I'm not going to do this as homework, so let's go back and do play live. And same settings here, so I'm going to leave, I'm not going to jumble questions or answers. And then let's go ahead and do an incognito window here so we can have teacher and student side by side. Let's give it a little bit more room here. So the student view will need to have a little bit more than the teacher. So proceed. Now you get what you need to do with your students is direct them to join.quizizz.com. A lot of times I'll put this up on the screen, the projector, for the entire class to see. And you don't have to do that. What I really like about Quizizz is that this is not required. They don't have to see this like some other programs. The questions and answers are going to show up on their screen. So I was actually able to do a quiz across 2 buildings at once, which was really neat to do, to see how people were able to participate while not being in the same area. So I can't start the game because, as you see, no one is in here. So I'm going to go ahead over here and go join.quizizz.com. Enter the 5-digit code, which is right here. Now this code is going to change every time you do a quiz. So even if I ran this World War II quiz 3, 4, 5 times, it's going to be a unique code every time I go to run it. After that, it's going to ask me my name. I'll join the game, and as you can see, you hear the fun little music, so you may have your students turn the volume all the way down. It automatically gives the student an avatar, and you can see that pop up over here. And actually, I'm going to pull it up on my phone as well, so we can have 2 of them going at once. Now, if you're on a shared device, it's going to save the student's name. So if you take them from one class to a next, you'll have to have the students remove the other name. Now you can see we have 2 students logged in, so the student can see who all's in here. And what I noticed was students really get a kick out of seeing their names pop up in here and all their friends and which picture their friend ended up with. And along those same lines, the students are the ones typing their names in. If they type in something inappropriate or they're using a nickname when you tell them to use their real name, all you have to do as the teacher is just hover over and you can kick them out by clicking that, and they will be forced to relog in. So let's go ahead and start the quiz. All right. Here's your teacher view. Here's the student view. I'm just going to click through and here's the fun little pictures popping in. I also have my phone right in front of me right now, clicking through just for the sake of speed. I'm just clicking, not really looking at the answers. And what you might notice is that you might have that with some students as well. The quicker they answer, the more points they get. So some students will want to answer quickly instead of getting the correct answer, but reinforce to them that a correct answer is more important than a quick answer. Okay, and now I finished on both my devices. So here it gives you a rank. So this one on the computer ended up with a rank number 1, and I have 50% accuracy. One thing I ran into when running this with some high school aged students was that they noticed this exit and play another game. So the fun little one we were doing, some of them exited the game and then re-entered using their name again, and they knew all the questions from just doing that, so they were able to go back in and get a complete score. You shouldn't really have that issue if you're just doing a classroom. This was one where I was trying to do the entire school at once. So let's take a look. Here's the student view, and here's where they can review the questions. They can see what they got right and what they got wrong. So it tells them, hey, you got this wrong. Here is the correct answer, and they can actually click and view details. This is what they had picked. This is what the correct answer was. So you can go all the way through and see that. So let's go ahead and close that. Now for the teacher, here you can see all your students listed. You can see individual questions. So here's a great way to identify what you need to go over again, possibly. You can see here at a quick glance, what questions did the entire class get wrong as a whole. And then here's the breakdown as well, so you can see. Next, we can also do an export of results. We can review the questions or we can go back to home. So if I export results, what that's going to do is give me a spreadsheet. It's pretty well laid out. It always takes a second for that to load. Okay, so while that's going, we'll just go ahead and go back to home and take a look now. We're back to our dashboard. We can do public, my quizzes, create a new one, and let's go to my reports. And here's going to be a list of every quiz that you've done. This is just a sample report for the first time you log in, so you can see what's going on there. And you can download it. You can also trash it. If we click on view, here we go with the information that really matters to you so you can identify who needs help and how you can address that. We can also look at the players of that one. If we click on the student name, we can see what it was they answered. Okay, and here's what the spreadsheet looks like. You can see the number of correct, incorrect, unattempted. Sometimes students will get booted out. It happens. Nothing's 100%, but those will show up in unattempted, or if you close out the quiz before everyone's finished taking it, if you want it to be timed. And here's their individual answers. So that's the quick tour of Quizizz. It's a very fun tool. The kids will get a kick out of it, and it's taking something that you've been doing for a long time and making it more interesting, more engaging for the students. I like to look at tools to make sure that they engage, enhance, or extend the classroom. And I think this tool, Quizizz, really hits on all of those. So I hope you give it a try. It's great. Your kids will like it, and you'll like the data that you get from it. So thanks for watching my video.